Good evening. My name is Robert Copeland. I'm with MBC Engineers. I'm a civil engineer. As you stated, we're here tonight to ask for a variance to put two buildings instead of one on a lot. What I'd like to do is just summarize what's in the package and kind of give you an idea how we got here. We've been working on this for I think 14 to 15 months trying to get here. When the client first brought the tract to us to work on, to lay the site out, she had a goal. We had to have a certain number of square footage to make it work. We needed like 14, 16,000 square feet. So we tried to make a single building and put it on this lot and the necessary parking. The problem was we kept doing that, and the way the trees were, this tract has a ton of trees, and they're really good quality trees. There's heritage trees, and we kept trying to put that footprint on there, and we're taking out too many trees. The only way we could make a single building work was she had done some previous 3- and 4-story concrete tilt wall buildings on other properties, and she brought one of those over, and we stuck that on there. And right off, we didn't like it. It didn't fit the neighborhood. Her whole goal the whole time was to fit the neighborhood, have 1, maybe 2-story building, standing seam roof, rock, stucco, something that looks nicer. And the tilt wall buildings, the single building just towers over the trees. It didn't look good. So what we did was we went to 2 smaller buildings. If you looked at the site, and I know you maybe have a plan there, but there was like an opening towards the back and up front where the existing building was. And we go the way it really works out best if you put a small building up front where the existing building is, so we're not taking out trees. And then there was an opening towards the back of the tract. So we tried putting 2 buildings that way. That took out less trees and we could meet the parking. And we went through probably 10 or 12 different iterations. We went to the Architectural Review Committee, and we'll let you know those guys are extremely helpful. We met with them so many times going back and forth that we're so concerned with the trees and showing them what we wanted to do. Same with Mr. Shands. He's been very helpful, giving advice, trying to help us get to this point. And we finally got to the point where we came up with the 2 separate buildings, saved as many trees as we could, and we went through architect. We decided to go that way. We liked the way the 2 buildings looked. It fit the neighborhood, the aesthetics of it. It was a park-like, park-like setting. So we decided to go for it. So we did the 2 buildings. We kept that there, put it that way. And we went to Architectural Review Committee for trees only because the amount of trees you can move are subject to approval by the city. So we went there and we got that approved. We went through that stage. Now we're at the point where we need to get a variance to have 2 buildings on 1 lot. And that's how we got here. I don't know if that makes any sense. If you look at the drawings, if you look at our site plans, you see all the trees we saved. Or I can answer any questions or give you more information if you like.
Question, this is the current proposal, correct?
Yes.
And this is the current building, what it's going to look like?
Well, where we're at right now is we're at the point where if we get this a variance for the 2 lots on the single lot, the next step is to go to Architectural Review Committee, where we'll have to address the aesthetics of the building, lighting, all kinds of stuff at that point. But right now, we're just trying to get and yes, sir, generally, that's what she wants. That's what we want it to look like. We didn't want the 4-story concrete. It didn't match. Towered over the trees, it's ugly. I'm not gonna say ugly, they've done before. But it just didn't fit the neighborhood. This was what we felt fit the neighborhood better. And the plans are very similar to what you just showed me. They're getting ready to submit them December 5th. We get through this, December 5th, the deadline for Architectural Review Committee, and then we submit for that, and then we have to go through all the aesthetics, building materials, how it looks and all that.
Now, both of these are new buildings,
Yes, ma'am.
so, because I thought you had said something about the existing building.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
So but both of these are new buildings back behind the existing buildings, is that what?
No, ma'am, I'm sorry. We removed the existing building.
Okay, so then the one building
The one up front.
up
was
front is going in the same footprint as the existing
almost
building?
identical footprint, yes, ma'am.
Okay, and then my other question is, where would, if you had gone with a single building, where was that building going to be on this same footprint and just taller, or where was that other, if you did not go to 2 buildings, where was that other building going to be going?
The one we've been to 12 or I don't know how many iterations. But most of the time it was towards the back where that back building was, because that was the bigger space for the bigger footprint. If you notice, that building's a little bigger back there,
Right.
trying to fit between the trees. And what we did is we just did like a 4-story building, and it just, the tilt wall doesn't match the neighborhood.
Right.
It covers above the trees, of the neighbors and everything else. We wanted to keep it small. If you tried to do it all one building, you knocked out too many trees. What we did, we didn't remove a single heritage tree. That was our goal, not remove a single heritage tree and save as many of the quality oaks as we could.
And then what was going to, well, I guess you would have put the building back there, but I guess my biggest, or my concern is the parking that now is the hardscape parking. I mean, you mentioned in the application, there was a discussion about the hardscape. And, you know, we do have drainage issues here. I don't know what the drainage issues are over in that part of West Avenue. But now you put 2 buildings where one existed and a bunch of parking where I'm assuming there was not a bunch of parking. So if you're telling me that one of these buildings now is taking over where there would have been parking, and you've just reduced the amount of parking, then that's something that I would like to know. If you're telling me, no, you're putting a new building in, you're increasing the amount of parking, and now we have even more concrete over behind those existing buildings, and I know back behind there are drainage issues, I wanna know that.
Absolutely. What we did was, I'm real familiar with the drainage. We're the engineers that redid West Avenue years ago. We did a lot of work, we've done a lot of work in Castle Hills over the years. And what we've done is, if we had one large building and parking versus 2 building and parking, we came out with similar amounts of impervious cover. But what we've done, if you look at that, I don't know if you look at the site plan on that, if you look in the back, that big open area is a earthen detention pond. And I know the city of Castle Hills, when I used to be the city engineer, and it's still the same, we were the city engineer for Castle Hills for years, that required detention, it's mandatory on every project. And we told our client, whether it was or wasn't, they need to detain. So what we're doing is, we'll catch the water, we've done a design where we catch the runoff, and our post-development flow rate does not exceed our pre-development flow rate. No more water will run off the site.
Okay, so that you're gonna have, during construction, back behind here is gonna be a detention pond, is that what you're telling me?
That's detention,
Okay,
all behind there, yes ma'am.
okay,
All this is, and we made it green too, instead of concrete
Right.
walls, we saved the trees. They're office, medical. Office? Yes, sir. Yes. No, not retail.
and the same overall, I guess, between the 2 buildings, is the square footage the same as what you would have had in a single building? Or are you looking at these buildings being square footage-wise bigger than what you would have had in the single building?
Well, we went through so many iterations, it's hard to keep track of it. What happened was, when you did the 2 buildings were more expensive than a single building, obviously.
Right.
We could have done that a lot less expensively, the tilt wall, and done it. We just decided, or not me, I don't decide, the owner decides that's not what they want to do. In regards to, it's more, I know these 2 buildings are more expensive had we done a single building, but I don't know the,
No, square footage, I don't,
well,
expensive, I saw that,
I
you know, and
honestly can't, I don't
obviously.
recall. I've been doing this like almost a year and a half on the project. They had a goal for a certain number of square footage. So when we did if it was 16,000 initially, I think is what it was, and we tried to do 4-story on a small footprint to save the trees, and the parking was all over, we wound up with about the same. We actually ultimately came with a little less square footage than they wanted because it didn't work with the trees. We didn't have the parking is what it was.
I can answer that question. I'm Tom Yennis, one of the.
Sir, could you come up and then introduce yourself so Janet can
Yes, thank you.
capture your name?
Thank you. I'm Tom Yennis, President of Mosaic Development, which is one of the partners in the project. And thank you all for being here. I can
help answer your question. Originally, we had looked at 16,000 on one building. We're a little less than that at 15,750 right now.
In the two, between the
So,
two buildings?
between
And
two buildings.
One is a two-story and one is a single-story, is that correct?
There's a part of the second building that's two-story. There's a pop-up in the middle that's a two-story.
Right, okay, yeah, because when I
Yeah.
when I first looked at it, it didn't look like it was two stories, but then I think I read in one of the things, or somewhere I read that one was a single story and the other one was a two-story, but it doesn't look like it's a full two-story
Right, so the middle third is a pop-up section for upstairs offices in that section. And we felt that was better because it's away from the two residential areas on each side. We thought we could get a little bit space, reduce the footprint, so we didn't take out as many trees. And what really drove us on this entire project was the trees, because we think the trees sell the project. We think it's the benefit to being where we are. There's so many trees and people want to be there, so we're excited to be here and hope everybody loves it as much as we do. So, thank you.
And just one more clarification, only because I can't find it in my paperwork. The one that was gonna have the pop-up in the middle, is that the back building or the front building?
That's the back building.
Okay, that
We
was what
felt
I
the
thought.
front needs to be lower because I think the back falls off about 8 feet from the front, and so there's a little bit of slope, so you can accommodate a little bit of height back there. And we still have tree cover in the back to keep it from being seen, so we thought that was the best way to do it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question. I'm assuming that the zoning is compliant with the use of the buildings?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
That's been resolved?
yes.
I'll let you
Thank
know
you.
that the parking, the fire access, all of our requirements meet code. Before we came forward even to get the tree approval from the architecture review, we made sure everything was per code.
Thank you.
We don't want to ask like 14 variances. Just kidding. No, sir, we never went before them. We didn't, when they initially brought the project, they had an idea from something similar to that rendering. That, to me, I don't want to say it looks like a house, but it looks more like a house with the tile or metal roof and stucco and rock, and they wanted a certain look. And then we couldn't make it work. I kept trying to lay it out, and then I'd done these buildings for her before, and we put that tilt wall. She didn't like it. She didn't want it. She said, that doesn't work. So we decided, that's how we got the two buildings. Because you had, like I said, you had the opening where the existing building was, and then there was an opening in the back, and we can work the parking around the trees, so. Yes, I do. And Mr. Shands could probably help me on this. Is it B, what is it, Mr. Shan, B? General business. It's general business, but this is set up just for offices and medical use, the way they did it.
Actually, step down from commercial, not necessarily full commercial, zoning. For example, business, the office is, something that is less than like, put 7-Eleven in or something.
Can I, Mr. Shands, you help me out there?
Is that so, what is it zoned for, a business office? I mean, I know the different zonings, but if this didn't go in as business office, what could go in?
Almost anything else. G, general business means retail, office, virtually everything in the city. The office building, you're talking about like the condominium office and the regular office that have limitations on height and everything else. This allows that and lots more, full retail. Strip centers, malls, yeah.
I just have one more question, and maybe it's just the way mine shrunk up. Are you, on the back end of that building, are you in any kind of an easement area or something? Because the one looks like it is, like the corner, yeah. This one looks like it was maybe, I don't know if this is.
That's a setback.
Oh,
They're within the
No, ma'am,
setback.
there's no easements, there are setbacks. The
right.
setback, typically, the rear setback is 20 foot. Because we had two-story, we had to go 40 feet. And we were already at 40 feet because we had that our basin, instead of doing a compact concrete basin or something, we made that big earthen basin to save all the trees back there.
Right.
So we were already at 40 feet. So the rear setback's 40 feet because part of the building's two-story. And what you're seeing on there are setbacks. There are no easements on the property as it exists right now.
Yeah, the one that I had looked like sort of a corner of the building was over that setback area. This drawing looks like it's just at the setback. And that was-
That's the architect's messing with my drawing. It won't happen that way.
I just wanted to make sure that that you weren't running into setback problems with the
absolutely. Yes,
back of
ma'am.
that building.
And what we'll do is, once y'all approve this, once we get past this, when we go to architecture review, we'll adhere to all the setbacks and everything. Our
Okay.
goal is, this is the only thing we need help with, just to make this work. The existing building, I want to say was an old house, and they converted it, was used for like a beauty salon or something, and there was another a couple other old structures back there. They were right up closer to the street, actually. We pulled off the street a little more, I don't think there's a front setback. I think we're 10 foot off. There may be a 10-foot setback. We're 10 foot off the front property line. And actually, we pulled 14 feet off. And we actually pulled 14 feet off. Good.
My name is W.I. Hankins, initials W.I. I live at 104 East Castle Lane. My concern is pretty well confined to outdoor lighting, the aesthetics and that sort of thing, and it sounds to me like I would be better off addressing the Architectural Review Board. Is that a public hearing that allows public input? Does the city send out notices? Or do I have to just watch the calendar? Do we know the date of the architectural hearing? Okay. Well, I had a short conversation with this gentleman over here. Oh, I see. Okay. All right, that's what I'll do. I don't really have
Isn't
anything to say.
And Mike, you can, or Janet, isn't there a sign too placed on the property itself that says, like there's a sign that was placed on the property that says Board of Adjustment meeting or up for board, whatever that sign that's placed there, I think, isn't there one for when it's going to go to Architectural Committee too, that's placed on the property?
Okay. That's all. Thank you.
Can I'm sorry, one more question just to ask. Were the property owners, the homeowners around that notified? I mean, I'm assuming they all were. They obviously, nobody showed up.
They received letters. Yes, they did.
Okay. Thank you.
I could just reiterate what the gentleman said as well. I think, I appreciate the concern for the trees and the aesthetics of the neighborhood, and I think the design and plan of the site is consistent with what is needed in Castle Hill, so I appreciate it. Thank you.
I think I had all my questions answered, and the gentleman before me all took care of anything that I would say, so.
I second.
So there's a motion, is that a good expression of the motion, Mike, or shall we just say
The point is you're approving the variance request.
approving the variances request? Okay, we have a motion on the floor and seconded that we approve the variance as requested. So I'm call for a vote on that motion. So all in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, 5-0. So congratulations. It's amazing what you can do in 14 months.
Mr. Chairman, one of the things I would, now that you've voted, I feel comfortable saying this, have you ever seen a better prepared, better presented, relating to laws and ordinances, not to emotions and feelings and threats for variance? I started in 1984. This is the finest presentation I've seen in the history of my work. This is really well, they addressed it, it's well done. No, even a very fine vote, I might add. Thank you.